One of the big issues in Australia at the moment is housing affordability. It's something that we've been really struggling with for a long time now, and we see many young people feel like they're actually locked out of being able to get into the housing market. One of the things the government is doing is pledging a housing accord. Part of this housing accord is aiming for 1 million homes to be built in 5 years from 2024. Now, part of that is a pledge for 20,000 public sector homes to be built over that time. Now, that actually would be an increase on where we are at the moment, but it is still well down on historical levels. Now, we've often heard Prime Minister Albanese talk about how he was raised in a council home. Thing was, when he was growing up in the 70s and in the 80s, public sector housing was much more common. We used to build around 1,000 public sector homes a month. Now, to show you just how down on that number we are, in October there were just an approval for 210 public sector homes. During the GFC, there was actually a huge spike in public housing because the Rudd government at the time used public sector housing as a way to stimulate the building sector. But we've really missed an opportunity during the pandemic, because what we saw with the Morrison government was they all put all their chips on the private sector with their home builder program. This meant there was not a big jump at all in public sector housing, but there was a huge spike in house prices. Now, if we're aiming for 20,000 new public sector homes over 5 years, we're only going to get up to about 330 odd homes each month. So it's an improvement on where we are now, but it's still well down on those levels back in the 70s and 80s when public sector housing was common. Housing affordability was much improved. Public sector housing is absolutely crucial, especially for people on low incomes. People for whom saving up a deposit for a house, especially in say Sydney or Melbourne, is just out of the question. Public sector housing takes pressure off people trying to get into the market to buy a house, because there is a greater supply for people, especially on low incomes, to be able to rent a house. Public sector housing used to be much more common. Yes, it's great that we're aiming to get 20,000 public sector homes built over the next 5 years, but it really should be just a start. We can aim higher. We should be looking at getting up to 50,000, 60,000 homes, because public sector homes are a good thing and we need more of them.